Hello all you beautiful people. Today is Sunday, May the 5th. It's the 14th day of 30 of my current water fast. It's a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon. I've just come from church. Today I'm going to check in and give you my current weight and my stats. But before that, I just heard about this thing. It's called the Coquitlam Crunch. Apparently it's a bit of a challenge. It's 800 steps. So I'm going to do that first, and when I can find a convenient spot to sit down and talk a little bit more, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience with edema and what I learned. So let's get going on that climb. Wow, I don't know, this looks a little bit daunting. Well, I've climbed up about 10 steps and I'm feeling winded already. You know what, guys? I'm gonna do this. I just passed a lady who was running down the steps when I started. She's coming back up. I said, "You're not allowed to do this twice or you have to pay." She says, I'm doing it my 6th time. Definitely feeling the burn. My heart is racing. Okay guys, I'm at step 375. Apparently that's just a little more than half. So today, my total weight loss is 16 pounds. Today I weigh 201.2. I lost 0.6 of a pound today, which is better than the previous 2 days, which was 0.4 of a pound, and the day before that was 0. So it's looking up a little bit. I have 1.3 pounds to Wonderland. The fast is going well. I feel good. The clothes are fitting better. I notice a difference all the way around, so that's good. I'm going to continue this climb, and then I'm going to tell you about my experience with edema. There are people literally just running up and down these steps. That's all? 437. Cars, there's little specks down there of cars is where I started. Good job, Fred. I wonder where that path goes. I think we should take it. Move dangerously. So I'm sitting on top of this big rock at the top of the climb, and I thought here would be a good place to talk to you for a minute. When I catch my breath, of course. So pitting edema is a condition I've lived with for at least a decade, probably more. It's when your lower legs retain fluid, and if you push on it, it leaves a dent. It's a condition that is circulatory, and in some of my research indicates could be an issue with your liver. Originally, when I first started having some concerns, I was having a swollen foot. My doctor was a bit concerned because it was 1 foot, not 2, and they were concerned about a blood clot, so they did a number of tests and did a kind of process of elimination and determined that wasn't the case. They didn't really know what was the cause, but over time, as I got older and fatter, I started retaining more fluid, and the pitting edema was the result in both of my legs. I worked hard to try to find a cause. I looked into my diet. I tried to control everything with diet. I did the same with GERD, and I was able to control it pretty well by eating properly, and I could discover foods that would agitate the condition. But in the case of the pitting edema, that wasn't true. I was advised and suspected that it could be sodium. So I tried to not use salt in my cooking or to even drink beer because of the high sodium content. But at the end of the day, I couldn't really draw a firm conclusion on how my diet influenced the condition. The condition was persistent, but sometimes worse. And of course, it got to the extreme when I traveled, because when you travel, you're sitting in an airplane for a long period of time and you have a big change in air pressure. So when I travel, I've gotten into the habit of wearing compression stockings. I have them on today. I find that they're energizing and comfortable. But at one point, the doctors actually prescribed compression stockings for me, and they told me that because of my condition, it was something I was going to have to wear for the rest of my life. Fair enough, the compression stockings were not really that big of a deal. I actually enjoy the way they feel, except you can't really walk around with stockings up to your knees in shorts, so I was restricted to wearing long pants. If I went on long flights, sometimes up to 12 to 14 hours, and some travel days that lasted up to 30 to 40 hours from bed to bed, I would get in the habit of putting the compression socks on in the morning. When I arrived at my destination, I would actually leave them on for the first night's sleep in order to correct some of the extra edema that I would experience when I was traveling. The markers to good health are more than just a number on the scale. I've talked about this many times before. And the edema condition, in addition to other health concerns that I have, are other markers that I've been watching very closely. I was really pleased to discover that when I was fasting, I corrected my edema and my legs became chicken legs again and skinny without any fluid retention whatsoever. Of course, this caused me to realize that it was mostly my excess weight that caused the condition, but it could have also been dietary because while I'm fasting, I'm not eating any foods whatsoever. So when I started refeeding, I was very concerned about what I was going to eat and how I was going to eat, because I wanted to see, I was very curious to see if I could actually continue with my success. And for the most part, the way I ate, which was OMAD, high fat, high protein, lots of salt, I was able to stay healthy and not have pitting edema. So one of the big discoveries was that it was not sodium that was causing the pitting edema whatsoever. It's been a year since I started my water fasting journey, and I've learned a lot, and I've had periods of refeeding where my weight has climbed and varied about 20 pounds, but for the most part I've been able to control this pitting edema, but I did notice that it would return as my weight started to increase. Of course, when I traveled back to Asia and I was subject to a long flight and I had 20 days of eating freely with lots of carbohydrate, lots of Western breakfasts, I also started to see it creeping back, which was a big concern for me. So anyhow, right now it's back in check. I still cannot confirm any diet causation to this pitting edema, but I definitely can connect it to my excess weight, which affects my health in many different ways. I start to see acid reflux also, my blood pressure goes up, I have depression and anxiety start to come back. So overall, the weight loss itself seems to be the biggest cure. And I have stayed away from actually discussing exactly what pitting edema is, because everyone knows how to use Google and search that from a medical perspective. I just wanted to give you my personal experience on living with the condition and how I corrected it for myself. It's really windy up here, so if it's affecting the sound quality, I really apologize and I hope you'll forgive me. But just to complete that topic, if I forgot to mention something or if it causes you to wonder about something, feel free to leave me a comment below and I'll try to answer as best as I can. So now let's hit the trail. I just asked some people, and there's stairs on this one also. Some people just have to show off. This is definitely something I want to do more often. I think this is a really worthwhile thing to do. Next time I won't be wearing a suit and blazer. There's that show off again. Nice big tree. You know I like trees, right? Going down is definitely easier than going up. So if you're still with me at this point, I really appreciate you going on this little hike with me. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your encouragement. I like your comments. I read them all. I try to respond to all of them. So let's wrap this up for today. Finally, I've got a video together that I think I can edit and post a little earlier than usual. And remember, love yourself, stay safe, and be awesome. No April rain, no warm July, no harvest moon. What it is, yeah, something new. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my